So now, please welcome the official, non-official, non-sponsor of the Savannah Bananas, but a big fan. Please welcome John Fletcher.
Well, thank you, my friend Jesse Cole, owner of the Savannah Bananas, and welcome to this Friday's edition of 15 on Fridays with Fletch. It's Christmas time. We're visiting with a man called Mr. Christmas in Arlington because he's the leader of the fabulous Christmas light display on Interlochen. In his honor, I'm wearing these earmuffs that we received when we were doing the Salvation Army ringing the bells the other night. He leads the fabulous tour that was rated number 8 last year in America on People Magazine's top 100 list or top 10 Christmas display list. This event is so popular that realtors even promote the neighborhood in their sales process. He became involved with Interlochen 30 years ago and has headed the Interlochen Lights as chairman of the HOA for 15 years. Interestingly enough, the man who oversees the Christmas lights is Jewish, but he finds joy in sharing the season with friends, neighbors, and people who drive hundreds of miles to attend. Please welcome the man that many call Mr. Interlochen and Mr. Christmas, Ralph Sobel. Ralph, we're glad to have you here.
From now on, I'm going to have my wife call me that too. And only half Jewish, but happy Hanukkah to everybody too.
That's great. Well, Saturday, December 13th, launched the 50th edition of Interlochen. Tell us how this all began.
Well, it began really as a real estate deal. Back in the mid-70s, Interlochen was a brand new community on the outskirts of Arlington and what used to be a floodplain. And of course, they were having an annual Texas boom or bust, and they were having a bit of a bust, and they were trying to call attention to the homes. And they decided to decorate because back then, 50 years ago, very few people did. You had to be very wealthy to do it. Access to lights and ornaments and outside stuff was pretty limited. So they did it, and it became an immediate sensation, and it's grown and grown and grown to the level it is today.
So you have about, 200 homes participate? Is that correct?
There's a 2-mile circular route with 200 homes on it, which is really the thing which People Magazine caught the attention of People Magazine. There are lots of beautiful Christmas lights neighborhoods, but very few set up so naturally as ours. But back then, there were only about 20, 25 homes. There were a lot of empty lots. So people gave boat rides. One guy had a hot air balloon. People drove. This is all from second and third hand knowledge, but in seeing some pictures, people would come in, they'd park and walk around and have parties. I guess it was the 70s. It was a pretty wild time, but that was part of the origins of it. It's much more organized and controlled today.
Well, and I understand that you still have some of the original homeowners still participating this year.
Well, that's where I get my information from. There are actually 7 families with the same home ownership, where at least one of the original family is still living in it and still decorating. And it really is heartwarming to see that, to see the historical link between those families and then the new young families who come in rip-raring and ready to go because they've grown up with it and they want to come in and be part of it. So it's just a wonderful history.
And I understand that the largest displays 50 years ago were in Highland Park over north of Dallas, Westover Hills and Fort Worth, and the Joint Reserve Base. How does Interlochen compare to these today?
Well, I don't think any individual home in Interlochen looks like the very best home in Highland Park. Two different economic situations. However, the fact that there are 200 homes that you can drive in as a family and go from home to home to home, seeing something different but complementary over a 1-hour period of time. And what we like to say is the whole of the Interlochen Lights is way greater than the sum of its parts. It's so many individual homes are so pretty, but it's amazing that you can see so many well-decorated homes that don't duplicate each other, because we work hard not to do exactly what our neighbors do. And it's just different. It's a little more old school, a little very homey.
Well, and you talked about complementary, and tell us about the ditto and the double ditto homes.
Well, it's kind of hilarious because we have one family that moved in 10 years ago, and they immediately won our top award, which is the Griswold Award, related to Chevy Chase's movie and that crazy family. They had, on day one, they had decorations all over the place, which inspired a couple of their neighbors to do almost the same. One of the three of them is one of our winners every year. Now there's other homes on that same block who decorate nicely, but they gave up trying to compete. So after those three homes, one house put up a ditto sign, and then the next house put up a double ditto sign. And when people are driving around through the whole thing, you see them smiling and chuckling as they drive through this little cul-de-sac and see five neighbors who are all obviously friends and have this little scenario play out. It's very cool.
What are some of the most memorable decorations from the past and for this Christmas season that we need to know about?
Well, there's one family that's being honored for their 50th year that for at least the last 20 years has done 101 Dalmatians theme. And sadly, the wife, the matriarch of the family, passed just before Christmas, and her husband's ailing. So the kids and the rest of the family came together and put the display back up this year. We were afraid they wouldn't be able to. So 101 Dalmatians. There's one that's very funny, the Home Alone house. It pays tribute to the Home Alone movies, and you see the burglars trying to break into the house and being thwarted by the little kid. And then this year, the one that's getting a lot of attention is the Swan Lake house, which has gone in a totally different direction. They play the music and project scenes from ballet, and there's swans dancing in a blue sea of lights on the lawn. So people do all kinds of stuff like that, and it's really great to see the creativity, and they do it without duplicating. They really put a lot of thought into it and a lot of effort into it.
Well, and we cheated a little bit because we came 2 weeks ago on a Friday night, the same night that you were being interviewed by Alan Skaya on KRLD. And so we took the tour with no lines. Now, only about a third of the houses had their decorations up, but we were able to zip through pretty quickly without a line. But even with that, with the smaller number, it was just still incredible.
And people who know the neighborhood do that. If they've been here before, they may want to say, well, let's go see our 10 favorite houses. And they kind of can scoot around the neighborhood. They don't have to wait in line to do that. But if you don't know where you're going, you can get a little lost in some of the cul-de-sacs that aren't technically on our route that the police lay out. And so I wouldn't recommend it unless you've been here before and know what you're doing.
Tell us about the hours for each night.
Well, officially, the hours are from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., but most of us keep our lights on till midnight. The crowds diminish, but we want them still to see everything. And even if the police leave a little early, the route sign system developed by Arlington Public Works lets you come around very nicely. So officially, they say 6 to 10 because they don't want people here all night. But realistically, it's 6 to midnight.
Well, and you mentioned Public Works and Police. The city of Arlington is a great partner in making Interlochen happen.
When I got involved in this, I went to a meeting at police headquarters, and they're really professional. I got to see what their emergency evacuation plan would be if something happened at a Cowboys game or at the World Cup, that the police have. Nothing really happens. Everyone's on their best behavior. But heaven forbid if something happened, they're ready. And in fact, I didn't tell you this before because it just happened on the first night. We had a gas leak on one of the blocks, and the homeowner notified me. I notified the police. Atmos was in contact with the police, and they cleared out a very busy street in 15 minutes so that the gas people could come in. Thankfully, it was a minor leak and it was fixed, but heaven forbid, it's the first time in my 15 years I've seen something where the police have gone into action like that. And it was really ensuring to see that. And all our neighbors felt good about that. And, we appreciate what the police do every night, but if something happens, they're really there for us.
Tell us about your own home decorations. I understand that you've kind of stepped it up year after year.
We're nuts. My wife and I are originally from New York, and some of our first dates were visiting, walking around the city, looking at the department store display windows at Christmas time. And when we bought our house here in Interlochen, I didn't know my wife was really looking at it, but we have 4 windows, bay windows facing the street, and she has them decorated, each one differently, as if they're New York department store windows with different character scenes in them. In one of them, it includes pictures of us, kind of embarrassing, but everyone seems to like it. So that's the main thing that differentiates our house from, when we were looking for a hook, that's what we thought would be different. So we do it a little different every year, but that's what people know our house for. Aside from that, we do a lot of inflatable stuff. And the main thing we also do is we have a little Hanukkah part of our Christmas display every year to honor both sides of our family.
Well, you are kind of like Miracle on 34th Street. I mean, that's just so wonderful. Tell us about the route, where it starts and ends.
You enter the neighborhood via Westwood Drive, and you get to that spot by getting off of I-30 either at Fielder or at East Chase. But you work your way to Westwood Drive, you come down the hill, and just follow the police signs from there.
Oh, that's great. And so, and your hints for participants about, being prepared to be in the car, how long does it take to take the tour when it's really crowded?
If it's really crowded, like on a Saturday night, and if you get there right at 6 or even a few minutes before 6, it's not so much of a wait. But if you come at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, it may take you an hour to actually even get into the neighborhood. Then it takes about another hour to complete the tour. So our main recommendation is go potty before you come. Make sure your gas tank is full. Have snacks for the kids, because we don't really allow the selling of snacks along the route. Nobody really wants to profit off of this. And also there's a safety factor. And then to just have fun, because it's so heartwarming to see so many multi-generational families. And at this point, after 50 years, you look in an SUV and there's grandparents, parents, and grandchildren sharing it. And it's just so heartwarming for all of us to be a part of that.
That's great. Well, Ralph, this has been incredible. Thank you so much. You bring so much joy with the Interlochen Christmas lights. It's one of the true joys of Arlington. You're a great ambassador for the community as well as Mr. Christmas. So, and if you want to learn more, please check on this link with my friend Alan Skya, as he reported on KRLD recently. And this pretty well captures the very spirit. So, Ralph, thank you once again for being on 15 on Fridays with Fletch.
We really appreciate it. Any chance to talk about the lights. It's the nicest thing I've ever been involved in with my life, and bringing so much joy. The last thing I'll say is when COVID hit and everything else was closed down, we were the one event that was allowed to stay open because everyone was in individual cars. There was no fear of contamination in large crowds. And to see the kids smiling after having worn masks the entire year, that made it all worthwhile for everyone here. And that's really my best memory of my 30-year involvement.
That's great. Well, and I wore the earmuffs in honor of you because Rebecca, a lady from Mardell's, gave them to us when we were ringing the bells for Salvation Army at Hobby Lobby the other night. So thanks again, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the tour. Thanks again, Ralph. Good night.
Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.